Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you will have a very happy New Year 2023. Now, I would like to do this video slideshow to maybe walk you through the flow of the monsoon drain systems leading from section 21, 22 and section 20 PJ down to section 51A, where it then flows into the Sungai Penchala or the Penchala River. Okay, now this, what you see in this picture, and this is going to be a slide show. Now what you see in this picture over here is a monsoon drain system coming down from beside the Taman Paramount LRT station over here. It's on the left, on the right of the picture over here. It flows down past the Taman Aman Park is over here, and if you look on the Google Maps, this will be where it is, where the monsoon drain is flowing down, somewhere here, between this part of section 21 and this part of section 20. So okay, so now this drain, of course, this is flowing down. I'm taking this picture from the LRT station side, and then it flows down further down, and it through part of the MBPJ park and ride car park, which is actually behind the Taman Paramount LRT station. Now, I'd like you just to notice something that this level here of the car park is, of course, at a higher level than the Taman Aman. That's the Aman Park, public park level. So just note that the banks of this are higher, but we'll come back to that later. Now, okay, now this is looking at it from, I've actually gone into Taman Aman and looked at the monsoon drain. Now that's the monsoon drain coming by the car park, but here is a monsoon drain that is coming from beside these flats over here. This is the Sri Aman apartments, and then behind that there's the Paramount View condo. This flows along the other side of the car park, and it comes underground part of the way, and it joins together here. And you can see now the Taman Aman Park is on the right over here, and here is looking the other way. The combined drain flows through this part of the underground monsoon drain, which flows in a public kind of walkway in the park area. Now there's the Tasik Aman lake over there, and you can see the pergolas. Okay, now this is taken from Taman Aman itself. You can already see in the platform here, and this, of course, you will find a lot of these gratings as you go along, which the river is the monsoon drain is flowing here underneath here, and of course you will see many of these gratings, which if you were to visit the place, now that the gratings like that, and of course the monsoon drain is below that, so you can kind of get a view of the river, of the monsoon drain, I'm sorry. Now this is the public walkway through this park. It's quite a pleasant park. It's got exercise machines and all that, and quite nice trees, so it's a good place to go walking if you're jogging and all that, if you like it. And that's, of course, the Tasik Aman lake. Now what has happened here, this of course is the other side of the lake. You can see the LRT line on the other side of the park. This is an overflow. If the lake overflows, it then flows into this underground monsoon drain over here, and of course it emerges. This is the other end of the park, of that walkway where it emerges and flows above ground. It flows open, sorry, not above ground, it flows in the open. See, it flows in the open between some of the residences along the area. Now, if you want to look at Google Maps, what happens here, you can see the lake over here. And if I zoom in, you can probably make out a bit of the monsoon drain. It's flowing something like over here, past Lorong 1447A. Okay, we'll carry on through with the slideshow. And of course it flows through the houses as explained. And okay, now this is where the monsoon drain approaches underneath Jalan 1447. Now let me go back to the Google Maps. This is what you see over here. It flows like that, and it comes to Jalan 1447. It flows underneath Jalan 1447 and comes out on the other side, which I will show in this slideshow. Yeah, okay. Now when it comes out the other side, you notice something. It comes out from underneath Jalan 1447 and it flows that way, but there is another, what looks like another drain coming from the left. It looks like it joins another drain coming from the left. Now we'll come back to that later, okay? Now I'll go back to my Google Maps. Now what I want to, we can, okay, now you can see that in this Google Maps. I'll blow it up. There's a TNB line here, high tension line. You can see how it curves round like that, but it's joined by something over here, and it then, but I'll come back to that. Now let's go here to this part here, okay? Now if you zoom in, you can notice this is Jalan 2013, 2014 and 22. This is section 20, Petaling Jaya. There's this Wealth 360 neighborhood over here. Now you notice there are some drains coming down into some kind of a drain here. Okay, let's go back to my slideshow. And this is that junction we refer to. Of course, this is just a screen cap of that Google Maps, so we are looking at that. But this is what it actually looks like in real life. I mean, you can see a drain coming down here. This drain probably comes from the houses on this side, and something coming from the shop lot area, section 20, or what is popularly called Paramount Gardens, and this flows down. Okay, now I didn't follow all this all the way, but now this is interesting. This one is a drain coming from the corner of section 20 commercial area, flowing underneath now for Jalan 1437. Now that would be over here. When I zoom it up, that is what you're seeing over here. This is just towards the end of 1437. You can see the monsoon drain coming towards the road, which is what you see here. Now it was raining that day. This was around 3 p.m. on the 25th of March 2021, and it was raining. There's no floods or anything like that, but I was in my car and I took this picture. So now if I move on, you can this of course you can see, I was in my car, as you can see it. You can see now the monsoon drain flowing out this way here, beside these houses. and this is flowing towards that area we see, because you can see the TNB pylon here, so it's flowing towards that area. Now this was rainy that day, okay, but let me take you to now I took that same picture of same place. You notice same houses, more or less same house here, and you will notice the TNB pylon there. This was another day, and more recently I think I took it in October this year, October 2022, and this time I was on foot, so I got a better picture of it, because you can see the monsoon drain, and you notice something over there. Okay, what is that? So I flip it, I zoomed in, and you can see it is an underground tunnel. The drain flows underground, under a pathway through that TNB land reserve. And now this picture was taken by Peter, who went out. Now and this is the drain coming from Paramount Garden under Jalan 1437, and that is the part of the drain coming from under Jalan 1447. That is the one that comes from Taman Aman. This is the one comes from Taman Paramount and all the houses along the way, and then it goes off this way down to section 51A. Okay, now let me go back to my Google Maps. Now let's look at this. Where does this go? Okay, now you notice there's a very interesting thing. This part is that part of the drain from Taman Aman going down in underneath Jalan 1447, and remember this is the part of the drain coming from under what the hell I'm counting, I don't want that. It's coming from under Jalan 1437, and it goes underground part of the way. It's somewhere here, and it goes underground and then emerges here. Now you notice there's a very interesting thing. This one goes in a straight, and then there's a certain see like a very sharp turn over here that goes towards Jalan 51A stroke 223. It runs past these houses on Jalan 51A stroke 223B, and it goes underneath Jalan 51A stroke 223, past Hino Motors over here, and it ends up in Sungai Penchala. Okay. So now I'll go back to my slideshow and see what's going on. Okay, now here, this is Peter. This homeowner here that did that day was the 28th of March 2021 when we did this site, when I did a site survey. Although some of these pictures were taken earlier by me and some were taken later, but most of them were from the site survey Peter and I did on the 28th of March 2021. Now the owner of this house was kind enough to let us go to the back here, and Peter was standing somewhere over here. Now I'll get back to this later. Let's carry on. So if you zoom in here, remember this part, this is already coming from the Taman Aman and area, and it's coming towards section 51A already. And when I look here, I believe it looks as if there's something, I mean, I've zoomed in too far, the picture resolution is not that big, but it looks like there's something going off on this side to the left towards, but you know, it's hard to see because this area, this part here is not that accessible. I mean, sure, and you can maybe try and go out and risk, you know, tumbling down here. It's not the most accessible place. But anyways, let's carry on. Now this, of course, Peter was standing. This is Peter standing here. This one goes parallel, runs more or less parallel to the LRT line. So this is the house that was kind enough to allow us to go into the back garden. And this flows zoom through. That's the TNB. That's the TNB facility there. And this heads towards Jalan 51A/223. Okay. Now this is on another day. I took this fairly recently. It was a very sunny day today, and this was very recent. It was where this is coming towards underneath Jalan 51A/223. I actually just took a photo, stood there on the bridge, little bridge over it. But the interesting thing, that development was done here, which is different from, that's the TNB facility. Something that was done differently now is there was some work done on it to mitigate the flooding in front of Hinomoto's area, and they built this concrete barrier. Now I don't know what this barrier is meant to allow water to flow under, and if the water is too high, it will flow over. But I'm afraid, I don't know, I'm afraid it has the potential to cause water to kick back and maybe flow this way. We will look at what that way is. Okay. Now, of course, this is after the monsoon drain emerges from under Jalan 51A/223. That's Hinomoto's, and there's another TMB substation or something underneath the LRT line, and it flows towards Sungai Penchala over there. Now, I don't know, this barrier, I wonder whether it was broken by excessive, maybe it got clogged up, and then the pressure built up, the water was very heavy and built up, or it looks like it had been smashed by rocks or something like that. But, okay, now, when I go back to Google Maps, there's something I'd like to show you, ask. This is what I've been wondering about. You see, this part is what heads towards Sungai Penchala, as we've established, okay? But what is this? You see, there appears to be some kind of a river. There seems to be something, it seems to be as if it is running part of the way, because it emerges. There is a monsoon drain over here that emerges after this housing area, behind this Stars International School, and it flows past all these industrial areas, including past the O'Connors, until it reaches the Jalan 227, Jalan 51A/227 end of the food court, MBPJ food court. And as you can see here, there's a monsoon drain emerging from under Jalan 51A/223, near to where the store corporation is, and then it ends up in it ends up in Sungai Penchala over here. Sorry, it ends up in Sungai Penchala over here. So it flows. So okay. Now back to my slideshow. Okay. Now this is the monsoon drain that is shown, that I showed you over here. See this one over here, before it reaches the food court, somewhere over here. Now we don't know where, we can't really see all the way in, because you really have to walk in unless you have a drone. Now this is it's a Christian church. It's called the New Life Restoration Center, I think that's what it's called. New Life but then this is, you can see this part of the drain here, okay, and then it goes past here up to here, and then it's blocked by trees. But anyways, let's take a look here. Now this is, we tried to go into this part beside the New Life Restoration Center, but I think it was kind of too many trees and all that in the way. It was kind of not, and also to get past here. So maybe we can try it another day. If you have a drone or something like that, it would help. Okay, now this one is looking the other way. The drain from here comes this way, and it then heads towards the Jalan 51A/227 end of the food court. Now you might notice that it enters some kind of a culvert underneath here. Now this culvert is the size of the drain. If the drain was full of water, this is smaller than the volume of water that the whole drain can consume, although it is not going to happen every day. And this is a closer up shot that I took from the back of the hawker center. This is the drain coming here, that's the opening going in there, and this is a drain coming from maybe the other side of Jalan 51A/227, as well as all the industrial areas in the factories or service centers or whatever on the other side. And what actually happens is the drain then flows underneath the hawker center, the food court. It flows underneath the food court. It flows underneath the food court, underneath Jalan 51A/223, and out towards the river. Boom, Penchala River. Okay. Now, just for information, quick, and this is where it emerges, as I said, from underneath the Jalan 51A/223. It emerges from Jalan 51A/223 and heads towards the Penchala River beside the Store Corporation building. Now this, just to be, this is actually a part of the Monsoon Drain along Jalan 51A/227, which comes from its junction with Jalan 51A/222, and it also comes to this end of the food court. That means this would be the shorter road coming along here towards the food court, although this is a much shorter road, shorter distance. It just comes from near the Petronas station here, and some of it, of course, does go through other monsoon drains into the river here. There is drainage going. Okay, that's the Petronas station. That's what they call Jalan 222 or Jalan 51A/222, Perseran PP Narayanan. So and this ultimately, here the Store Corporation on this side, this is the part of the drain as it emerges from under the food court and Jalan 51A/223. It then flows boom all the way to the Penchala River. Of course, the drain is not flooded. Drain looks very normal in those pictures that we took on a very good day. But this is what sometimes happens when the monsoon drain floods, and it overflows the food court. It overflows the food court through the food court, and it comes out the other side. This is the Jalan 51A/223 end of the food court. This is the Jalan 51A through 227 end of the food court. Now let me go back a bit, back up a bit. Here, this is the part we are talking about. Water is coming here. Normally it looks very sedate, but when the heavy rain, it overflows near to the public toilet there, you know, and it's pretty bad. I mean, it isn't. So this is what happened, and this, according to this article, Flash Floods, Water Rises to Thigh Level by the Star, they say that this event, flooding happened at around 4 p.m. on the 20th of March 2021. So, you know, if you are unfortunate, these sort of things, when the water is very heavy, it kind of like happens. Okay, now this is a 1971 map of Petaling Jaya, and it's big. It took a long time to load. It's about 32.8 megabytes. Now I'm going to zoom in just to get some perspective about what is going on historically, okay, or before that. Now you will recognize this part over here, okay. This is Jalan 2013, 2014 here. Now if I go back to my Google Maps, we can go here. I already go back to Google Maps. We can here, sorry, it's about here. You can recognize the same thing more or less. This is 2014, 2013 and 2002. Now this one clearly shows the monsoon drain coming from that corner underneath Jalan 1437 and ending just after ending it just after Jalan 51. It's called Jalan 223C there, but this is Jalan, now it's called, this area is called 51A stroke 223 or 51A, but anyway, those were the old road namings. And you can see it over here, same sort of thing, same thing down here. This is what happens. It ends about here. This is Jalan 51A stroke 223C. It kind of ends over here if you compare the old map and the new map. Then you see another thing on here is this here. You see this one comes to what they call Lorong, this T-shaped thing, this Lorong 1447A on the old map, although this one is called Jalan in this case, 1447A, although they must have renamed lane as opposed to street or road. But the same thing, it runs here. I mean, the monsoon drain runs here underneath 1447 and it joins up with here. Although here it is shown as above ground. I mean, this of course is although in Google Maps you cannot see that as clearly because you can't really see it very clearly because it's obscured. Either it actually runs underground now through a tunnel, or it is obscured by trees. Now just for your information, this part is section 51A. This is something like a boundary between section 14. This part is also called section 14. This part where Surah Pakatan Amal Jariah is in section 14, and this seems to be a division. And you can actually park your car here somewhere and cross over. It's quite easy. Okay, now then let's look at this. Now at that time, this lake, as they call it, was more kind of like a retention pond. but it had not been connected to the this part of the monsoon drain that joins up with that one. Okay, and at that time there was no LRT station or anything. There was just a transmission line running. Now there's an interesting thing about here. There's an interesting thing about this area here. Here. Jalan, this is of course Jalan 222 or what is now Jalan 51A stroke 222, and this is the area where the Petronas station is. But this 1971 map just shows a part of a road called Jalan 227, that would be 51A stroke 227 today, that just runs part of the way. It's not completely built. And this area seems to have nothing. This is now an industrial area now, but there were just a few factories here. But this is interesting. And this little stub of a monsoon drain is of course interesting because you see, this is actually joins up with what is now called Sungai Benchala. At that time on this 1971 Petaling Jaya map, this was called a drain reserve, but now this is it's Sungai Benchala, and the food court, which was not indicated, was not built yet, but it was actually built over this monsoon drain, this part of this monsoon drain. And what has also happened is that Jalan, this road, which is from the roundabout, this is the Sri Aman school here. This road just kind of ended there, okay, but now it has been extended to come round and join up at the through road. I believe a school has been built over here, and then there's a field over here, and the industrial area has been built in this area, in the section 51A. So you don't see that this road comes down here and joins up, and this is and then the monsoon drain was joined up to here and maybe also to here, which you can see in the Google maps over here. This is the monsoon drain, was extended from what was around here all the way here to the end of the food court. The road here was extended downwards here to join up all the way here past this field that is now here. All this industrial area was not there then. This is now 51A stroke 227, and it joins up with this, and it joins up with Jalan 222, just where the Petronas station is here, and this back lane, Lorong 51A stroke 227A, was not built then, or apparently not built then, and even this area was not around then. Doesn't look like it was around then, in 1971, that is. But anyway, this is where the Petronas station is. And just an interesting talk about Sungai Benchala. This is section 14, okay, where I live. And in those days there was a pond in this part of section 51A. It was past the transmission line. This is a retention pond. And Sungai Benchala, or what used to flow into this retention pond and out of it. And here you can see the network of monsoon drain coming from here, this pond over here. This is now called Taman Jaya. This is Taman Jaya, okay? This is Taman Aman. Or this one here is Taman Aman. That is Taman Jaya. Okay? But anyways, and that's another issue. But the water from there all ends up in here. All this stuff comes, it all joins up ends up along here, comes along here, swings behind and joins up with Sungai Penchala. But what has happened in recent years, they've filled it up and made a car park. This has been made into a car park, and then the river was bypassed, the Sungai Penchala bypasses this area, and it bypasses this area, and they are now building the Paramount 8 development, Etera condo here, with high-rise condo development, transit-oriented development, where they can, within a short walking distance of where the LRT line is over here. So this will hopefully give you a better perspective of what is actually going on. Now, what can we see over here? Okay. This is of course the Penchala River flow, but this is exactly what they're doing. This is the Penchala River. The pond was over here. This is Millennium. This is here Millennium Square is over here. Millennium Square is over here, and the LRT line is now here. The TNB reserve is also here, over here. You see some pylons. The pylon over there, and this is where they are now developing this Paramount Etera development over here. And the river is no more going into this retention pond. It is just flowing through around it, around this area. Now, moving on. Now, I just want to go back and think a bit more about what causes this. I mean, okay, the people down, according to the STARS report, the Star Metro's report, the problem down at the flooding of the MBPJ food court has been happening on and off for about 20 years now. But what causes this? Well, if you look closely, this is not a very high-res picture because it's received by WhatsApp, but you can somewhat maybe make out that it's not actually overflowing the park. It's actually overflowing into the river, into the lake. Into the lake. Now, just a bit of a history of this lake. I don't know, not sure about it myself, but I understand that it used to be a retention pond. But this is what I was informed by some friends of mine who say it was a retention pond before, where the river flows, where the monsoon drain flows into the retention pond and then out of the retention pond. So as you know, a retention pond acts as a kind of like a buffer for water during heavy rainfall. When there's a large volume of water, it acts as a buffer, so it will prevent flooding downstream. Now that is one possibility, but why does this happen over here? Difficult question. Some people will say it's climate change, higher, more rainfall. Well, that one I think you would have to really look at the records of the meteorological department to determine whether Malaysia's rainfall month to month has actually, month by month, month over month, say like January this year over January the last year, January over January over January, of December over December in different years, has been going up over the years, or has it been steady? Because there are some months in the year, like for example November, December are usually the months amongst the months with the heaviest rain, but around the April time is also a time when the rain is quite heavy, although it may be not as bad as November, December, or January. So and also these areas like section 22, section 20, section 21 are all matured areas that have been around since, as far as I can remember, when I arrived here in PJ. It was in the end of 1970, and I stayed here in PJ, and these areas were already there. SS2 was not there, but and of course section 51 was not completely there. It was kind of in the process of being built, but most of the other areas are quite mature. So what is it that has made the difference? It's for the flooding in, especially for this overflow of water in Taman Aman. Why is that happen? Why does that happen? Okay, what changed over the years? That might be a good question. Well, I've been taking LRT quite a lot, and actually I used to like to go and park, try and go up to Taman Paramount LRT station and take the thing. And this part built down here, this park and MBPJ park and ride car park, is a fairly new, recent development. I mean, I would say perhaps within the last 10 years, perhaps. Not more than the last 10 years it was built. Previously, this part immediately behind the LRT station, there was a smaller car parking place which was always very full, and it was operated by a kind of like a private car park operator contracted to the LRT station. But this area was not there, and of course now they have built it, and there's of course access between it to provide more parking. Now the question is this, you see. This is you notice, now previously this was TNB reserve land, and if you look at this end here, you see this is grass under this TNB pylon. It is not a very well kept, but still, it's grass. So what happens is, I mean, this is just my theory, you might say. When rain falls, if it is grass, it will tend to be absorbed into the water, into the ground. I mean, not perfect, but it will tend to be absorbed into the ground, some of it at least. So but what could be happening is, and then of course you notice, well, this is another issue. Although the car parks have got these kind of blocks that are put there supposedly to allow water to seep through the cracks. It's not cemented here. It's kind of just blocks placed in the ground. Still, unlike some other places, they will put hollow blocks. These are the ones which allow better flow of water into the ground. But anyways, I don't know whether even if they do that, whether it will be enough to sink enough water into the ground. Anyways, you can see the massive extent of the car park, that has been built in this, what was the TNB reserve land. Now again we go back, I mean, this is the old picture again. You notice the car park is extended quite far here, and it's actually at quite a higher level. So if the water from here is flowing down, if this kind of overflows, or what I think is happening is, since all this is paved over, or what could be happening is that there's a runoff of water from the paved over car park into the monsoon drain. I mean, although I was not there to see it, so I cannot confirm, but it's something that might be worth thinking of or investigating whether it happens. And that of course is our TNB pylon, under which the water flowed into the lake that day. And you can see here, this again is a picture of that under the monsoon drain going under the public walkway. But the main point is this: you look at the levels of this. This is the car park level, the MBPJ car park level, and this level is low. If this, even if water was not running off from the car park, if this monsoon drain were to flood, would it not overflow this side, because this side is higher, overflow this side into the lake underneath the TNB pylon? So okay, so that's the end of our, we've come back to that monsoon drain flowing down, the first photo in the slideshow. But anyway, this is something that I think needs to be thought about seriously, studied, to find out why there is water overflowing, why there's water overflowing overflowing through this, and of course overflowing through the lake as well. What is the cause of it? Why? What is the cause? Because it is inconveniencing people, and I don't think we should go and blame, And once again, just to show you that map, am I on the map? Okay. Well, I'll go back maybe and try and get to that map. Okay, map will be coming up. When I zoom in, you can see here, once again, just to compare, okay, the Google map. This is of course now you see the food court, okay. Here you see a monsoon drain. Here you see a triangular place that is used as a piece of land that is used as a car park. This is that triangular piece of land, lot, what was called Lot 34 in those days, although now it would have been renamed. Then there's the O'Connor's building sitting over here, O'Connor's engineering and all that. That is where it was. That's where it. No, here, sorry. Lot 13, not there. Lot 13, it should be here. That's 15 is the 15 would be it will be here. Sorry, 15 would be that little triangular car park. 13 would be where O'Connor's building is now. This marked as 7A would be where the Star International School is. Yeah, maybe somewhere here. So, okay, I hope this helps you to find out, to learn more about what is happening, and I hope it will help solve the problems of flooding, flash flooding in our area, not only through the food court over here. The food court is this stretch over here. Food court will be here, but also, the flooding that's going on over here into the lake, into this. This is Taman Aman Lake, by the way, and that's the Taman Aman school. So I will stop this recording now.